All right, good morning, everybody. You know what the deal is by now. It's Andrew here with Fast Cars, Fast Money, and we're talking about Dover today. Love Dover. I've been there a handful of times. Seems no matter when they do this race, there's always rain in the area, and of course, rain has impacted this weekend. So, if you didn't see practice and qualifying, got rained out. So the qualifying or the starting grid is set by the formula, and it's a little unknown because we are running this race in the summer this year, so the temperature is going to be a lot warmer than it typically has been. And we're also bringing a brand new tire that has never been run before. They're anticipating and hoping for some tire fall off, so hopefully we see that and we don't see tire failures, and hopefully we do get some fall off, some comers and goers, and hopefully tires mean something. So, with no practice and qualifying this new tire, what are we really leaning on? I think you can just really lean on the Dover next gen stats, maybe how these teams are running this year. But yeah, let's go through it here. So in terms of the driver by driver breakdown, you got two drivers priced up in the 11K range. You got Larson and Hamlin. Now, Larson has not been running well as of late. He just has not seemed like himself really ever since the Coke 600. We haven't seen him up front leading laps, dominating races like we typically see. However, when we get to Dover, Dover is a track that Hendrick Motorsports usually runs pretty well on. Larson is expensive, but he does start 25th, so it gives you a kind of a mix of place differential upside and lap leading upside in terms of how he's projecting. So it's tough to know, how these drivers are going to do with no practice in qualifying. So, having that extra safety with the place differential built in is nice. He also does have two top tens here in the three races we run in the next gen era. Now, Hamlin, on the other hand, does have a win here. He doesn't give you as much place differential upside as Larson or Hamlin. But if you look at just numbers at Dover, how they've been running, the stats, Hamlin is going to rank higher than Larson and Blaney. So I really like Larson. I really like Hamlin. And I really like Blaney too. Kind of the same reason for Kyle Larson. Good amount of place differential upside here. His numbers to Larson's are almost identical. He also has two top 10 finishes. His average finish here over those three races is 12th. Larson's is 13th. So I really like all three of these guys. I think if you start your lineup with either one or two of these drivers, I don't think it's a bad way to build by any means. So if most people are doing that, I think a lot of people are going to not get to William Byron and Christopher Bell. Of the two, I'm going to prefer Byron, a little bit more of a tournament option. Byron, however, does have the most laps led here across the three races, and he starts fifth. So, the ability for him to get up towards the front is a lot easier than Blaney, Hamlin, and Larson. So, a little bit of a different type of play because he doesn't have the place differential upside. But if you're looking for like a tournament lap leader, a guy that maybe won't get that much ownership, I think William Byron makes a lot of sense today. Now, Christopher Bell can kind of be in that same category as well. But when I just look at the stats here, Byron's stats are better than Bell's. So I'd rather just play Byron. And I really like Chase Elliott too. I mean, Elliott starts on the pole. His Dover stats are very good. He actually has the best average finish in the field of 5.7. He's tied with Ross Chastain here among active drivers. So starts on the pole, looks like great chance to be a lap leader. But again, with no practice in qualifying, like we don't know how these teams are unloading. We don't know how they're setting up. Nothing is for certain, especially in NASCAR DFS. So for me, I really like Elliott as a lap leader, and then maybe trying to pair him with Larson, Hamlin, or Bell, or some type of combination like that. Reddick's kind of in that same category as Bell. He's okay. I just think there's other guys I'd rather play. So maybe a little bit more of a tournament guy. I'm just really not getting to him. Really like Ross Chastain. We just kind of talked about him when we talked about Elliott. He has the tied for the best average finish here with 5.7. He's led 184 laps over those three races. He gives us a place differential upside starting at 19th. So I really like Chastain today. Now, Briscoe's numbers here are not good, but he also wasn't in as good of equipment as he is in now. So his ownership could have come in way less than Chase Elliott's, but he starts right next to him, and he gives you $1,000 in price savings. So maybe if you're building 3 or 4 Elliott lines, throw a Briscoe line in there just to get a little bit different. So a little bit more of a GPP option. I'm going to have way more Elliott myself, but don't count out Chase Briscoe. Bowman, really good here. He ranks second behind Elliott and Chastain, best average finish here with a 6.5. For whatever reason, he just always runs well at Dover. He has one here that was in a different gen car, but he gives us some place differential upside too. So I think he's very similar play to Ross Chastain. I'm gonna have a lot of Chastain. I'm gonna have a lot of Bowman today. But a guy I'm not gonna have a lot of is Joey Logano. Just Dover has not been a good track for Logano in these next gen era cars. Starting eighth, kind of a tough spot. Not really going to get to him. Then we kind of get down to this like medium interest range. You got Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher there. Now, Busch actually has been running pretty well at Dover. He did start on the pole the one year. He has an average finish here of 10.7 over those 3 races. He's led 162 laps. So he's a little bit more of a tournament play, starting 10th, but his next gen numbers at Dover are actually pretty good. So I don't mind, sprinkling him in and getting some Busch ownership today. Now, Chris Buescher is a little bit safer. He's a little bit cheaper. Gives you 2 extra spots. He does have 2 top 10 finishes here. Average finish of 11.3, which is very similar to Busch's average finish of 10.2. He's only led 18 laps to Busch's, 162. So he's a fine option. But I'd rather target Hocevar out of any of these guys. We're back on an oval, so we should see Hocevar start running a lot better than he has been the last, couple of weeks on these road courses. Starting 33rd is very deep in the field, so a lot of place differential upside there. Keselowski's kind of in the mix too. His numbers aren't as strong as Busch and Buescher's, but he's also cheaper and gives you a little bit more, place differential, a little bit more safety. Gibbs has arguably been running the best out of kind of these medium interest plays, running up towards the front. Average finish of 11.5 over the next gen races here at Dover. So Dover has actually been a pretty good track for him in the past too. So starting 9th, just a tough starting spot, a little bit more of a tournament option. Cindric, he's okay. Nothing really screams to play Cindric. He looks like a mid-pack guy. All of his Dover stats are mid-pack, but with no practice in qualifying, it gives you a little bit of extra safety there in 26. So if you need a value play, you can't pay up and afford Hocevar. I don't mind Cindric as a pivot option. Priest, really good, kind of like Ty Gibbs, has been running pretty well as of late. He's just tough starting spot in 11th. So again, none of these the Buschers, Keselowski, Gibbs, Cindric, Priest, like none of these guys are target plays for me by any means, but I don't mind them. They're definitely in the player pool. I'm going to have ownership to all of these guys. If we do get tire fall off today, a guy that's been pretty good at managing that tire fall off is Josh Berry. So this could definitely play into his wheelhouse if we get that type of race. I don't know how much ownership he's going to get. So he's kind of in that same category of, yeah, they're in the player pool, not a target play, but, definitely will have some ownership there. Now, AJ Allmendinger, I'm not getting to a lot. He starts kind of mid-pack. I think he finishes there or drops back. Now, SVG was a must play the last 2 weeks on the road courses. But this week he's a must fade. He's getting better at the ovals, but starting 6th, very unlikely that he maintains that position and a good chance he falls back. Bubba Wallace, pretty good value here. Gives you some place differential upside, pretty good equipment. But I really do like Eric Jones and Stenhouse of the Wallace, Jones, and Stenhouse. I like all 3 of these guys, but if I had to pick, I'm going to lean on Jones and Stenhouse. Both of them have pretty good stats here in the next gen era. They start deep in the field. They're affordable. Easy to get in the lines. There's nothing here that's telling me not to play Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Suarez starts mid-pack. I think he finishes mid-pack. Just not a lot of value there. Michael McDowell starts too far forward. His Dover stats are not good. Average finish of 25th in those 3 races. Now, Gregson has been terrible. super tough to play. It seems like anytime there's a caution, he's involved with it, or he wrecks out or gets damage almost every single race. However, he does start 36, which is basically DFL. His price continues to drop every week. He's only $5,900. He just needs to finish the race, and getting a top, 30, 25 finish is very doable. He has a top 10 finish here in the past as well, so that is encouraging. John Hunter Nemechek and Zane Smith, now they've been running a lot better than Noah Gragson. They don't start as far back, but it's not like they start so much further forward either. So they're probably the last two plays I would want to get. Other than that, I'm really not getting to the Haleys, the Gillans, the Dillons, the Custers. Like all these guys just start in the second half of the field and likely finish in the second half of the field. There's nothing screaming here that, they're really good at Dover or they're really good at, the intermediate, concrete style tracks. Now, Ty Dillon will be interesting just from the in-season tournament perspective. He was ranked 32nd, the worst seed in the tournament, and he's in the Final Four or whoever it's called now. So it'd be pretty cool to see him advance. I think he's racing against John Hunter Nemechek today. So, that'll be a kind of a fun, one-on-one type of battle to watch. And I think he has a decent chance. And then Herbst, Ware, and Yaley, I'm just really not getting too low today. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully we can get this full race in. Hopefully Mother Nature cooperates with us. But other than that, if you've made it this far in the video, if you like, comment, share, retweet our content, allows us to reach more people. We're only 15 subscribers away from 1,000. 15. We can easily get that this weekend. I know there's 15 people watching this video that haven't hit that subscribe button. If you want access to the spreadsheet, go over on X. It's at Fast Cars FM. Typically, we will not do videos for the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Just honestly too tight of a turnaround time, and we're all busy. We all got full-time jobs and stuff that we're doing on, for fun on the weekend. So we just can't get the videos out, but we usually will get a spreadsheet out. So if you want access to it, it's over on X. They're not expected whatsoever, but if you want to help me afford to go to some more races, buy some more race shirts, some more race hats, some die casts, things of that nature. There's a couple of links there in PayPal and Venmo on the support tab to do so. So that's going to do it. Hopefully this is helpful. Best of luck today, and we'll catch you guys next weekend.